Champions League just started today. I watched a couple of highlights, but so far though, even if you hadn't watched the highlights today, which team has the best attack, or which team do you think has a good squad overall? I know we haven't seen a lot, but this is just, you know, we're just gauging how
Yeah,
good this team
we're kind
will.
of assuming based
Yeah,
on the last 4 weeks of domestic play what's going
domestic
to transition
play.
and work
Yeah,
into.
there's a lot to do, but what which team has a potential good overall squad to win it or to go far?
I think it's the clear ones first off. I think that I think PSG, you know, I think
Put
go
in
ahead.
mind though, PSG has three. Their front line is they're all out of commission.
Yeah, no, but they have some decent depth though, actually, and
Bacola,
that's partly Barcolo's out.
no, Bacola is in,
Okay,
but
because he's been on fire. If he was out, that
yeah,
would be
yeah,
unfortunate for
no,
them.
what was their
Dembele's still in, right?
no, I think Dembele is out too.
Ooh, okay. Well,
Dembele and the striker.
well,
What's all these people that I forget their names, but yeah,
I think they have some good depth though, because I mean, you can slot Desiree
That's true.
Doué in there as well, and I feel
I
like they've
think
got
he's
enough.
out too.
Oh, Jesus. I think that they have enough speedy guys in midfield where
Yeah.
they don't necessarily need three forwards.
Yeah.
I think at least. But I mean, it comes down to their play style as well. And I it's one of those times where I think it's it's beneficial for them to have a little less competition on the weekends. We'll say.
Okay.
Some people don't like hearing that, and
Yeah.
it is what it is. Sometimes it works in your favor, and sometimes it bites you in the ass, and you never really know which one you're going to get. So it's not that it's always a good or a bad thing to be the number one by a mile in your own league. It works in your favor. It works against you. We've seen it both come both ways.
That's true.
But I think that you always have to give the champion respect
Always.
coming back. I think that Real Madrid will find a little bit more form. I feel like Mbappe is, except for the penalties, they're getting a lot of dubious penalties, we'll say.
I saw one today that wasn't really.
Well, because they won 2-1, and both of those were Mbappe penalties.
Yeah,
And so
but the one on the weekend was really good. I don't know if
yeah.
you saw the match, but
I did not. But, they're always in and around the conversation. I think that they have really, great players. They've got a decent depth in the squad. So you kind of can't not mention them.
yeah,
I think that for lack of depth, the starting lineup for Liverpool are incredibly solid as well. I do worry, and by worry I mean as a neutral fan, or actually really someone
This
that
is exactly.
I would like to see them fail,
Yeah.
but what I mean is worry for it's that you look at the team sheets, and they are a little thin in terms of rotation.
Yeah.
But that starting 11, when they're all healthy and they're all in form,
That's true.
they're absolutely unbelievable. And then on the opposite side, I think that Arsenal haven't, and Liverpool haven't completely unlocked what they're capable of yet.
That's true.
Arsenal haven't either, but your new strikers scored 3 goals in 4 games, and you do have that depth now.
And
you
they
see,
balance. They're really balanced defensive.
you see Odegaard out, you see Saka out. Madueke's really replaced well. Zubamendi's found good form. So I think that they really benefit now from the depth and bench. And so they need to be taken a little bit more seriously. And they made it, they went very far last year as well. And so you expect semifinals from them. Whether you're a fan that wants to see that, you just look at the paper.
Yeah.
You look at the stats, the depth in that squad, and the quality of the team that persists throughout the last 2 or 3 years where they have been in contention for the league. You add in 4 or 5 more guys that are in and around that same quality of player.
Yeah.
I mean, you mathematically you have to be in the semifinals at least for that campaign to be a success.
I can get behind that. How about you didn't mention Barcelona.
Yeah. What do you think about Barcelona?
I think right now I think Liverpool, Barcelona, PSG, Arsenal, Bayern.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I say Bayern right now is on fire, and whenever they're on fire,
Bayern.
Whenever they're on fire, it's the most dangerous here.
Yeah,
because anybody can get it from any league, from their league, and just squad right now, and just attacking us, the attacking front. It's very, very. I mean, you got Olise, you got Diaz is doing great there.
Yeah.
They score from Gnabry. Like, these guys are crazy. The little games I've watched. And that's why I put them as potential, if not winners, but they will go far. because they have in the few games I've watched. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, in 3 games domestically, it looks like they have 14 goals and they've conceded 2, which that is pretty nuts. What about the lack of pace in the back line, though? Do you think that could be a bit of an issue against the other big European sides?
That's true, but it will have to also go. I think they will be banking off. We might not get the defense because Bayern really have never been known for defensive prowess, even at their best. Their attacking prowess at their best is scary because it don't matter how much you can score. It matter how much you will concede from them.
Yeah, I've said this before as well. In the 2000s, the New England Patriots, number 1 offense in the league, 31st of 32 defense in the league. So it was more just about, we're just going to outscore you, and we will do that. So we're not even really concerned about how much we concede. But you accept the fact that Bayern, like the further you go in that competition, just statistically, the less goals that you're going to field, but the more goals that you're going to concede because the quality of the opponents coming up. And eventually you will meet that tipping point, and you hope that you don't find that until at least the final.
That's evident.
And then it just becomes a shootout.
And Barcelona, I think they have a good balanced squad. I think the lack of probably defense attribute in terms of just sheer defensive skills, instead of just having the offside line and all these traps. Just a little bit that, because people might understand that this year, because last year it's like, oh, we never seen this, but this year it might be a little different.
It is dangerous playing that line when, like, you don't particularly have the best defender. Like, not only do you not have the best defenders, but you're playing in a situation that's basically begging to be countered on very quickly.
And that's what, and we saw it against PSG.
Yeah. And so if they can keep that under control, but if the midfield can recycle lost balls and sort of feed it down to the forwards to keep pressure on the opponent's box. Yeah, I mean, ride the high line and try, keep the offside traps on and see what happens. But
that's my fear.
It's up to your midfield to keep that ball in possession.
That's my fear if you play against someone like Liverpool. Now, talking about Arsenal is well-rounded right now. The depth is there. They've always been good at defense. So now the defense has always been... it's already there.
And these new players coming in very quickly. I mean, week 2, Saliba's injury, and now Christian Mosquera has come in and looks very good.
Yeah,
that was a very interesting one where it's not so much that I question the quality. Yeah, because he's a young player. Not a lot of people saw him earlier on, so it's not that we were expecting someone to come in and be completely out of their depth. It's how quickly you can transition. That goes from league to league, regardless of to the very, very top, just in terms of play style. And his turnaround in terms of just getting the system and playing effectively has been outstanding. But it also helps when he's the only new one in your 4-man back line, all of which have their roles and play it well, despite Calafiori not being the best defensively. Gabriel can kind of help remedy that situation a bit more.
That's also why I said right now I feel like the well-rounded, well-balanced defense, attack, midfield, rotational squad, the depth in the squad, the technicality, the tacticians, everything is right there, set up for them.
Well, and Arteta made a really interesting transition early on where it was when the Saka injury happened and the Odegaard injury happened about a week and a half ago or so, where remember when they fielded, it was Zubamendi, Mourinho, and Rice in the midfield, and they looked lost. They looked like they couldn't really create any sort of offensive momentum, and then all of a sudden the answer was Madueke,
yeah.
And I think Eze gave some pace on the left wing, although Martinelli gave the finish today against Athletic, which was wild. Like, where was that? Did you see that goal? A little dink over the top from Trossard.
Yeah,
and he just kills it down.
And the way he did that too, it's a sign of him learning.
Yeah.
And I think because you have another striker, now you have to start thinking, hey, if you're not just gonna come here, although they paid you, they gave you that much money, you're not just gonna come here, assume the number 1 position without me fighting.
But it was so funny. A dink over the top. He kills it in stride.
He fainted. They did the move.
Yeah. That was Mbappe at Monaco.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right over the top, 4 touches, little dink into the far corner. You're like, shit, where is that? Let's keep doing that.
That's
but that's also great game management too, because both players that linked up were Trossard and Martinelli, both subs. Both came on late, one assisted for the other to score. But you look at Madueke on the wing, and now it feels like there's less requirement and less pressure on the midfield to create these chances. Now it's just holding possession, dictating pace, and then you get it out to Eze and you get it out to Madueke, who's been working his absolute ass off.
Yeah.
Talk about somebody entering a system and figuring it out very quickly. And spreading out the defense over the two wings has allowed for Gyökeres to have a bit more movement inside as well, and he's not trying to have to hold the ball with his back to goal and make things happen with any sort of dribbling. So having those wings accessed a little bit more than the traditional kind of Pep, silky in the midfield that Arteta was trying to work with, he spread the game out more. He's paced it up on the wings, and I think even Martinelli kind of benefits from that now, because now you have the whole point of Martinelli was to run people down ragged for 70 minutes, and then you put Trossard on, who's more technical and has a better finish, and you've worn down the wing. You've worn down the fullbacks. Now, holy shit, you've got two amazing athletes on the wings, ripping everybody apart, and now Martinelli comes on, and that's the last person I want to see in the 78th minute come on fresh.
Definitely
is your former speed demon.
And if you have your squad healthy, then it's even crazier, because we just don't have the ability or the capability to just do the wings. When we do on the wings, we do on the half. You have to cover your half too. You have to cover your first third. So it's coming from everywhere. And the fact that we can score without necessarily recycling balls, it means in a counter attack we are not stopping. It's going full.
Yeah.
And so
well, and the press on when they're dispossessed as well is really impressive. I've seen Eze and Madueke especially really pressing when the ball's lost early on to sort of smother out the transition.
Yeah, that's it. And the last one for me, because you already spoke about PSG and all that, I think PSG will still do great. They have it. They have the young squad. He's doing good, and the way he's running the team now, the coach, Luis Enrique, and you know about him that he's doing it the Barcelona way. I think that's what it is, because they figured out that they don't necessarily have to have the high profile stuff. Although they make theirs now.
Yeah, I was gonna say they don't buy theirs. They make theirs now.
They make theirs now, but they have it all figured out. They might not win, but they go far. And if they go far, it's either or. So Madrid, this year might be a little different, so I'm also interested because I think they have the defense right now. They have Hudson, Militao, Alexander Carreras, and they also have a little bit of depth, not as depth as Arsenal or as deep as Arsenal, but they have a little bit. And I know Ancelotti just even said this probably a week ago, and he was like, if he left Brazil, he would go back to Madrid, just because this year, if you look at the defense, last year he just had two defenders to the whole season, because a lot were injured. Militao is back. Rudiger's injured, but I don't think he's injured actually, or he is, but he's there too. So there's a good combination. I'm happy for Guller just because I always thought he was the guy to be plugged in there. Then you have Tchouaméni, Valverde, you have Camavinga. You still have a good thing going on. Mascherano, I think they will go far. I just don't know how far, but the few games I've been seeing, Mbappe, Vinicius been playing really great together, especially the game they play against Mallorca was amazing. The Mbappe goal, he ran, no one could even stop him. That was crazy.
Yeah, because I think I did, because there's a clear moment, maybe like about 7 yards outside the box, where he just like you witness him kick it into the next year.
Yeah,
very rarely do you see somebody go from like a 4 to a 10. Like it's like I saw. It looked like Mario Kart. He had a booster.
So I think we might be getting back Monaco Mbappe. I mean, even PSG Mbappe. PSG Mbappe was different because I think he understood.
Early Mbappe. Yeah.
Early. I think PSG Mbappe is because, and someone said this, he said he understood, he's more experienced in the fact that he understands his space more. He don't have to kick it every time. Which is what Kyle Walker was saying, that defending Mbappe was so difficult because he slowed down so much and he just kickstart in a heartbeat that you don't really know.
Yep.
But I feel like I'm seeing more of the Monaco Mbappe where he don't have to slow. I think it's because he's playing striker. But, like these are my 5 teams that I see going.
Here's one more thing about Real Madrid. If Militao gets injured again this season, he has to go somewhere else, right?
I think Madrid has to offload him.
Yeah.
Just because
this is the last chance.
Spending a lot.
Yeah.
And although he's talented, but he's injury prone.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's so good. He's good enough to build a defense around. But you can't do it.
That's another thing that quick finish before we end this segment. Players that are usually, when we talk about the good of anything, you can be attack, defense, or the best defender, whatever, right? You also have to be grateful of the fact that you never been injured, because there's a lot of players that were talented, no matter what sport it is. But we never got to see their prime. We never got to see the highest execution of
yeah.
their talent, just because.
Yeah, because you forget
Injuries.
how much those legacies were built over time,
Yeah.
and for that to happen, you have to be fit. You have to be playing week in, week out, because
Injury free.
not everybody can make the same Ronaldinho highlights in half the time. It's like, no, he didn't play that way every single game. But the thing
Yeah.
is, you're watching the entire breadth of a very long, very
Yes.
successful career,
That's true.
and that's what makes it.